This is episode 22 of my special series, The Entrepreneur Alphabet. I created this series so you can better understand what it takes to be a successful entrepreneur and therefore make sure you stop being the bottleneck in your business. I share practical A to Z insights across 26 short episodes. Yes, 26 like the number of letters in the alphabet. In this episode, we cover the letter V for validation, which is the process of testing and confirming the viability of a business idea. Before we validate it, I'd love to hear from you. Send me your questions about entrepreneurship or topics you'd like me to cover in a future episode. The best way to reach out to me is by email contact@laurentnotin.com or directly on LinkedIn. I spent 14 years in the market research industry working with corporates, SMEs, donor agencies, and international organizations. Market research aims to collect and analyze data to help businesses make informed decisions instead of moving blindfolded. We had a say, which derives from the acronym FIFO, first in, first out. If you're not familiar with it, FIFO is an inventory management process that seeks to value inventory. Hence, the business is less likely to lose money when products expire or become obsolete. We like to refer to our job as CISO, shit in, shit out. Basically, we were saying that if the data we were collecting were crap or irrelevant, the reports to our clients would be crap or irrelevant too, regardless of the quality of our data analysis. The same principle applies to validation. Validation is the process of testing an idea to determine if it's worth pursuing. It's a crucial step in the entrepreneurial journey because it helps entrepreneurs avoid wasting time, money, and resources on a wrong or irrelevant idea. Let's say you came up with something, like a new product, a service, or an idea for a new business. Before investing time and money into developing it, you want to ensure that people will actually like it. Validation helps you do exactly that. Now, there are many ways to validate your idea, such as conducting qualitative or quantitative surveys, talking to potential customers, suppliers, or retailers, creating prototypes, and testing them. The goal of validation is to collect feedback to see if 1. There's an actual demand for your idea, what we call product market fit in the startup jargon, and 2. There's a way to distribute it. Entrepreneurs who validate their ideas before they start are more likely to succeed because they better understand what their customers want and need. They can then make informed decisions about how to move forward with their business. Of course, your gut feelings play a critical role, and you should listen to them. I'll talk about it in episode K for knowledge. However, I've seen too many startup founders failing because they didn't validate their ideas before launching, not to insist on the importance of this step. Now that we've established why validation is necessary, let's discuss how to validate your idea. And let me start by putting first things first. The most prominent mistake entrepreneurs make at this stage is to start by thinking about who they should talk to and what they should ask instead of determining the objectives of the validation. When you do that, I guarantee you will get crap or irrelevant results. It's like taking your car without knowing why you're taking it. Maybe your fridge is empty, therefore you must take your vehicle to the grocery store. If it weren't empty, you wouldn't take your car, would you? So when it comes to validating your idea, you first need to ask yourself two questions. Why do we want to validate our concept? And therefore, what information do we need to collect? Let me illustrate with an example relevant to my business. I want to launch an online sales course dedicated to B2B business owners. Why would I want to validate this idea? Well, because I want to make sure there's a need for B2B business owners so that I don't waste my time developing the course for nothing. I know it's kind of basic, but it is very important that I remember that key objective. To answer my why, I therefore need to collect information such as what do the other online sales courses for B2B owners look like? What are B2B owners' main challenges with sales? How do B2B owners educate themselves regarding selling? What B2B services benefit most from an online sales training course, etc.? It isn't an exhaustive list of questions, but I hope it shows you the importance of starting with the right step. Once you're clear about your why and your objectives, there are several methodologies to collect the information you need to validate your idea. You can talk to potential customers and ask them about their needs, wants, and pain points. Ask them if they would be interested in your product or service and why or why not. It's a great way to get feedback and ensure your idea is worth pursuing. But don't only ask about the product or the service, like the ride in a Uber ride. Ask for feedback along the customer's journey. For instance, the app, the delivery service, the waiting time, etc. Map out the customer journey and think about which steps are vital for you and for them, which steps you need feedback about, etc. For instance, for a Uber customer, how important is the waiting step? You could also conduct market research. Look for data that supports your idea. Are there any similar products or services out there? What do people like and dislike about them? It will help you understand the market and make informed decisions about your idea. You could create a prototype. It's a physical or digital representation of your idea. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it should give people a good representation of what you're proposing. You can use prototypes to get feedback from potential customers and see if there is any interest in your vision. Before launching Dropbox, the founder, Drew Houston, validated his idea by creating a simple video explaining how the product worked. He posted the video on the internet and found a lot of interest in it. He then launched Dropbox, which is now one of the most popular file sharing services in the world. You could also launch what we call a minimum viable product, MVP. An MVP is a basic version of your product or service that you can launch quickly to get customer feedback. It's a great way to validate your idea and see how people interact with it, see if there is any demand before investing time and resources into a full-fledged product. Let me give you an example. Before launching Airbnb, the founders validated their idea by creating a simple website where people could list their spare rooms for rent. They tested their hypothesis at a design conference in San Francisco and found an actual demand for this type of service. They then went on to launch Airbnb, which is now one of the largest travel accommodations companies in the world. I'd strongly encourage you to use a mix of methodologies. In today's digital era, many companies don't take advantage of everything modern marketing has to offer when validating ideas. Some tools and methods allow you to reach millions of people with a click. Plus, many new tools constantly come to the market. So it's essential to keep up to date with emerging technologies to use the most appropriate means to validate your ideas. It requires a shift in your mindset though. Rather than blindly putting all your eggs into one basket, any financial person would tell you it's a stupid strategy. You need to continuously test and experiment with several ideas simultaneously because technology allows you to do so. That's it for this episode. Thank you for listening. If you like this show, please subscribe to it and leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcast or any of your favorite podcast platform. See you next time. Bye for now.